The fires recently have been so much worse, I think, than anything we've seen. They're bigger, they're hotter.
They burnt places that haven't burnt for millennia.
The scale is just completely unprecedented.
The fires haven't discriminated. Every single species of Australian wildlife has really suffered. We have lost over 1 billion animals.
When the fire gets into the tree tops, and that's how it spreads, they just get incinerated.
As you can see, there's pretty much nothing left. This would have been pretty dense undergrowth not 4 weeks ago.
These fires are still going now, they're still going strong, and we'll continue to see them coming in the future, and they'll continue to get worse if we don't address these issues immediately.
This has got to have water charging down it sometime soon. That's a redneck wallaby.
The most inspiring thing about this situation is the enormous, overwhelming response we've had locally and internationally.
The Australia Wildfire Fund was created in response to the devastating bushfires that have been ripping through New South Wales in the last couple months.
With huge impacts for wildlife, and we have supported both the emergency responses and the longer-term conservation solutions.
WIRES works 100% through donations, through the generosity of other people. And the way that we use those funds is to train and to provide resources to our 2,500 volunteers around New South Wales.
In this area, it's been mostly responding to emergency calls for where kangaroos are involved. There are a few bright spots in the darkness, and those are the ones that kind of keep us going, and you find a little joey that's going to make it, or a kangaroo that can be saved. Just being able to get them to the local volunteers who are our carers, who can rehabilitate and release them, is pretty awesome.
It's a lot of work, but the rewards when you get to let one of these guys go back into the wild, it sort of is the counterbalance for all the work and the stress that you go through looking after these guys.
Give him one. If he gets one, he's happy. He hangs on to it.
As well as the fires, Australia's wildlife is facing a range of different threats.
The main effects to native mammal populations is generally habitat destruction and the introduction of feral pest species, namely cats and foxes.
Aussie Ark is an adaptable organisation, and we are multifaceted. We work with species recovery, habitat recovery and in situ recovery, which means animals in the wild. Now, whilst we've been facing these threats, we can provide and care for, to a higher degree, the animals within our sanctuaries, under our care. But the animals in the immediate vicinity, like brush-tailed rock wallabies, Hunter River turtles, koalas, wallabies, echidnas, have suffered massively.
We've been going out to our brush-tailed rock wallaby populations, found here at the bottom of the mountain. They've been hugely affected by the fires, but they're also the areas that haven't been hit by fires are facing huge drought. So we've been taking carrots and sweet potatoes and doing large food drops of those species, have food there and can sustain through this hard time until the rain comes back through.
So a wallaby just here.
Very cool. There are iconic species that everyone's familiar with. There are species that the Ark works with, but there are also species that are silently disappearing, like freshwater turtles. Just around this area, there are 3 species. They have all suffered dramatically.
We've rescued over 200 Hunter River turtles, over another 100 long-necked turtles, 50 critically endangered Manning River turtles, and that's what all we've been doing is waiting for this and taking them from drying holes, certain death, to another hole. This pond's at a size where most of the turtles would have left, because you can feel that they can't thermoregulate. Whatever temperature the water is, they are, and when it's hot like this, they've just got to go. Whoop, got one. Another short neck.
Oh, wow.
Water bodies are drying up to the point that, can you believe you've got an aquatic species like a turtle walking across these roads, just hopelessly searching for water?
We stand to lose so much with the fires and the drought. Australia's got just so many unique species found nowhere else, and they're all, threatening to disappear before our very eyes.
Australia has one of the highest extinction rates on Earth, and many of the species that have been affected by the catastrophic fires were already on a crash course for extinction. We need long-term solutions to manage fire, to manage the threat of feral pest. You name it, we have it. Climate change, urban sprawl, habitat destruction. If we want to save these species, we need to address those issues to fix and give them a platform to thrive.
Where we're sitting now is a 400-hectare sanctuary. So what we've created is really a safe haven for the animals already living here, particularly koalas, and a range of other mammal species as well as reptiles. And what the plans are for moving forward is to reintroduce some of the species that have been lost from this area. So basically restoring the area to what it was pre-European settlement.
To have a functional ecosystem, we need the interconnectedness that once was. If there are bits and pieces missing, it doesn't work. The ancillary benefits to all vertebrates, flora, if you can fix a platform for the mammal, you benefit everything else.
I think the fires have caused some of the most incredible devastation we've seen ever in terms of habitat loss, wildlife loss. Australia has been made an example of, and they've really risen to the occasion and have shown the rest of the world what can happen when we all put our heads together.
It's quite conceivable that once the fires are out and these beautiful eucalypts start sprouting fresh green leaves, that people forget about the devastation that will take decades to recover from.
When it goes quiet in the media, there'll be still all the carers and the people looking after these animals for many years to come before we can actually release them. So supporting and understanding this situation from a local and global perspective is very important for us.
There are outcomes to be had. There is conservation to be done. The preservation of nature competes with all of humanity and our human problems. But it's equally as important. If we lose nature, we have lost ourselves.
I think the fires have turned the eyes of the world to Australia. The fires are a very visible representation of what climate change is doing to our planet. And so I think that we have a window of opportunity to try to do things differently, to restore and recover and protect that which we have left. These natural environments and thriving ecosystems are so essential to stopping fires of this nature happening at this level.